watching college football for 40 years. I've loved it for 40 years, regardless of how we determine a national champion. I like the quality of the content. I like the teams. I like the stadiums, the fans. I think it's a little bit of an alternative to the NFL, even though it increasingly looks a little like the NFL. I have two strong opinions on this college football playoff. Number one, this playoff is going to mean some teams will play 17 games. It's officially time to pay the players. I've always been somebody that believes name, image, likeness. You know, write the kids a check if they're Tebow popular, Johnny Manziel, Reggie Bush popular, end of the season. The aesthetics are going to be so bad if you don't pay the players now. And players are going to see it, and they're going to stop playing in big games. Why? Because you're going to have multiple networks now bidding on this. Right now, ESPN owns the rights. What college football is finally figuring out is they're going to put this up for bid for all the major networks, and every network's going to have a little bit, the way the NFL works. That's why the NFL is the smartest league with the smartest commissioner. They spread the league to every network's got a piece of it. College football goes, oh, that's how you make money, not give one network all the money. So you're going to have Fox is going to have some, ESPN's going to have some, CBS is going to have some. They're all going to be paying billions of dollars, and it's going to look absolutely ridiculous not paying the players for 17 games. This is also going to knock out a bunch of crappy bowl games. College football is going to be big boy business, and if you think the chorus is loud now to pay the players, I will jump on it with all my fervor and voice from this point forward if the sport is a $32 billion sport and you're not paying players for 17 games. I would tell the players, play 1 year, sit it out, just go get a trainer after 1 or 2 years, don't risk an injury. You got to pay them. Beyond just name and image likeness, this is the kind of deal that's going to get all the college kids at some level are going to get paid. Men, women, boys, girls, whatever, gymnasts, football players. This is basically it's March Madness on steroids. It's going to be a massive deal. It's time to pay the players. The second thing is, for God's sakes, it's not going to change the landscape. Bama's still going to be good. The SEC is still going to dominate. You're going to have 8 teams with a chance to win the national championship. What about the exposure? What about the exposure to those teams? Exposure is only valuable if you're good. If you go on Shark Tank and you're an idiot, the exposure is not good. If you go on The Voice or America's Got Talent and you have no talent, people make fun of you. Exposure is only great when Alabama's winning 40-8. It's great for Alabama. It's bad for Coastal Carolina that gets rolled. This idea that exposure is going to change the landscape. You can only win in college football usually one way. You got to recruit the best players. And have you ever noticed who's got all the national championships? It's schools that are within 75 miles of hot recruiting bases. Bama's and Clemson's and USC's and Oklahoma's and Ohio State. They're around a bunch of players. They have massive brands. The exposure is not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. If Alabama's already beaten people by 20 in the semis now. Now they're going to have 2 other games to steamroll people by 40. You think I'm going to sit there as an 18-year-old kid and go, Alabama just beat Cincinnati by 38. Boy, that makes me want to go to Cincinnati. No, college football's got the same exact teams winning now that won forever. There's a couple of programs over the last 25 years that have snuck in. Oregon. How? Phil Knight, the richest college booster in America and the most brilliant. All the marketing with Oregon. So Oregon was not a top 15 program 25 years ago. Phil Knight's money and influence is the only reason they're there. If there's no Phil Knight, Oregon's winning 7 games a year like they were pre-Phil Knight. That's about the only way to sneak in. Or you get this legendary coach. Kansas State for years had a guy named Bill Snyder who was just absolutely brilliant, and he made them relevant. The minute he left, they stink again. So exposure doesn't mean anything. The same teams are going to win. College football has always been a have and have not sport. Look who's winning today. Who's winning was 50 years ago. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma. Same teams. By the way, Clemson won a national championship when I was a kid. Now they're good again. So my 2 big, strong opinions. This is going to get players paid, and they should be. You can't ask people to pay 17 games. You're going to watch those kids start skipping games, bowing out of bowl games, bowing out of stuff if you don't pay them when they see it's a $9 billion annual sport. And the second thing, it's not going to change who's good and bad in college football. There may be a program that sneaks in, like an Oregon sneaks into the top 10, and they weren't years ago because of a booster. They get a great coach. But don't kid yourself. This sport has always been about a handful of power brokers, and they'll continue to dominate it. And exposure is so overrated. It's such, folks, everybody's on TV now. Boise State gets 9 games on television. BYU's on TV 10 games. When I first got a job at ESPN, this 15 years ago, they had 60 to 70 college football games on a year. Now they have 500. Everybody's on television. Everybody's getting exposure. It's the same 8 teams winning. Alex for the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Colin, I'm with you that the players need to get paid. Are you hearing anything? Are there any rumors? Is it